Hello, this is Thomas Wiebernight of AHEAD CRM, and today I'd like to talk to you about the Microsoft earnings release of the Microsoft Q3 2022 numbers. Now today, on April 26, Microsoft has released these numbers, and as you can see, the Intelligent Cloud business unit of theirs is still by far the leader, followed by the productivity and business processes. Why do I mention these? Because these are the ones I'm particularly interested in, as the Intelligent Cloud contains Azure, and the productivity and business processes contains the Dynamics 365 business and the CX business. So, well, overall, one can say Microsoft came in pretty healthy at nearly 49.5 billion, which is almost a 20% growth year over year, which is, well, beyond words, just big numbers. Looking at the Intelligent Cloud, this is driven by Azure. Now, the fun part is they don't really give numbers of what 46% growth rate do mean. Means there's some math wizardry that I'll come back a little later. The second part that we are really interested in is the productivity and business process suite, where Dynamics 365 is part of. Here, the main drivers are LinkedIn with a healthy growth of 34% and the Office 365 commercial. What is not mentioned, and just remember these numbers, what is not mentioned is Dynamics 365. So, looking at this from a bit bigger angle, Microsoft wide and far as one of the big four CX players, together with Oracle, Salesforce, and SAP. There's no doubt around it. So these make the core of the Clash of Titans. Looking at what Salesforce recently said, well, it wasn't November, but February, sorry for that mistake, is a growth of 26% for its last quarter. The coming numbers are coming in May. SAP just recently reported for their cloud revenue, which is different from the Dynamics 365, of course, 31%, mainly driven by S/4HANA Cloud, which means we can't really say how much is their CX business. So them saying that S/4HANA Cloud and Business Technology Platform are the main drivers of their cloud revenue, let's say SAP is sort of in the vicinity of where Salesforce said it's growing. Now, Dynamics 365 has a growth rate of 35%. Remember, it was not named a growth driver of that business unit, and LinkedIn had only, in quotes, 34%. Now coming to the math wizardry. So there was an Azure growth of 46%. If I now calculate that with the growth rate of the other part of the division that they gave with 6%, and the overall revenue of 19.5 billion, one can calculate that around 11.3 billion are the Azure revenue compared to AWS last quarter, because the current numbers will be coming only in the next few days. We are talking about an Azure revenue of 17.8 billion. So if we are looking at that, Azure percentage-wise probably is growing as fast, maybe a little faster than AWS. On the other hand, if AWS grows at, let's say, 40% in total, they are probably still growing faster, which is amazing on both sides. So these numbers are just mind-blowing. By the way, I'd really be interested if someone can help me out there. I can't yet find a model to calculate the Dynamics 365 revenue out of the business unit, the business process business unit. So if somebody can help me with an idea there, I'd be more than grateful. Same for SAP, by the way. They are not saying anything about their CX business. So whether it's $1 billion, $2 billion, don't know. Gut feeling is somewhere in between there. maybe closer to 1 billion, but well, I don't know. And I'd be grateful for some help to develop a sort of valid model. Looking at it from an analysis point of view, Microsoft still is on a roll. They are really on a roll. I mean, they are repeatedly growing at slightly above or a little below 20%, which is amazing considering that we are talking quarterly 50 billion. This is really nothing to sneeze at. So now, seeing that the Dynamics 365 figures, growth figures, are slightly larger than all the other figures in that dimension, this can only mean, while not being named a growth driver, this can only mean that in that portion of $15.5 billion, Dynamics 365 is small. Still a big business, probably even bigger than SAP's CX business, but comparatively small in that business unit of Microsoft, which is also a big word. Now, Azure is continuing to chase AWS. If the growth rates stay sort of similar, they will not really pick up. The percentage is slightly larger, so maybe they're getting a little closer, but I wouldn't hold my breath that Amazon comes in at significantly lower than 40%. It's rather the other way around. Now, totally in general, if we are looking at how the internet evolves, how business evolves, how interaction of people with computers evolves, there's one company that is uniquely suited to deliver value to as well business as well as consumers. And this is Microsoft. So they basically have it all, from software, hardware. They have the AR, they have the VR parts. They have, well, the gaming platforms that can be used, should be used probably for what is the internet to come. And there's simply no other company around that can do that at that scale, especially. Now, looking at that with that growth that Microsoft has, there are only 2, maybe 3 companies that Microsoft needs to be afraid of, to use that term. One is Google, and Google just stumbled because of, well, the ad revenues are probably no more really where they want them to be. Means they probably need to pursue their way into business applications, which they are anyways already doing. They are hiring business unit or business software execs galore, basically. The other one, if they choose to go business apps, is Amazon. This is a scale thing. And the third one that they really need to be afraid of is Microsoft. Why Microsoft? Simply because this company is that big. This company sometimes gives the impression that there are factions working against each other, so that the company simply inhibits itself. So if this gets really carefully taken care of, then there's nothing, or really nothing, that can stop this behemoth. So now I see some comments in here, which is first one. Thanks for that, John. I do think that they are not yet there, but I wouldn't say they lost it, but they're not yet there. Simple as. They are far more on the lower end. But if I'm looking at their abilities, especially when it comes to creation of applications as well as to customer data platforms, to use that term, they are strong. And what they do have is basically the mother of all CDPs. And this is also nothing to sneeze at. But thanks for your comments, and also for the praise with the nice analysis. So this is my snap analysis for today. If you have any comments, then please let me know. If there's something wrong, please tell me. If you like something, please tell me too. And see you next time.